You have that piece on your bucket list. I just know it. You are in the process of figuring out what is the best format for you to learn the cello. And that's why you're watching this video. You saw that it is all about how online and group coaching can help you learn the cello faster. And I know what you might be thinking. Is it even possible to learn the cello online? Is it possible to learn in a group format? And I get it. I actually had one-on-one cello classes all through growing up. When I became a teenager, though, I joined a program that was life-changing. It was called the Advanced Performance Program from a local university. It was a pre-college program, and the reason it was life-changing is because I actually had group coaching. In that program, the Advanced Performance Program, I had a group masterclass every week. I actually had 2 one-on-one lessons every week. I had collaboration classes and collaboration workshops. There was minimum 5 different class types every single week, and this was very intense. It was made for people who want to become professional cellists, and it was exactly what I needed in that period of my life. Now, the reason I tell you this is because it was actually one of the first sources of inspiration for me to create a program that can serve adult cello students. I know that your goals on the cello are not necessarily to perform. If they are, there's also a place for you. But what I do know about you, based on all of the students that I've taught over the past decade, is you want to be able to play with your kids when you are old. You want to have clarity, play board games with them. You want to be creative in your marketing. You want to have energy as you sit down to work every day. That's the kind of person you are. You care about excellence, and you care about taking care of yourself from the brain down. You know the value in playing the cello. You know that it can really accelerate your goals, and that's why you're here. So in today's video, we will be talking about how you can actually customize online learning for your learning style. And yes, this includes kinesthetic learners who like to feel and learn by doing. Number 2, you will learn what the Inner Voice Academy review cycle is and how it distinguishes Inner Voice Academy from other online cello lessons. And number 3, you will learn about the monthly class cycle that'll allow you to actually feel excited for your next cello class instead of waking up on a Monday morning dreading going to that class. So if those 3 things are interesting to you, stay tuned, because at the very end of the video, I will be giving you your exact next step for learning the cello. So let's dive in. I want you to have immense clarity about the program that you decide to follow. It is so important to be completely bought in and know that the program that you are choosing is going to work for you. That is why learning styles is a really big factor to learning success. Finding a program that actually allows kinesthetic, auditory, visual, and the read-write kind of learner to excel is essential. So let's go over each of the learning styles and what they look like, and then also what they can look like in an online group environment. Okay? So, kinesthetic learners. You are the kind of learner that if you are able to feel, touch, hold, actually do the actions needed to learn something, get some feedback, and then go back and try it again. This works amazingly well for you. Now, the cool thing about the cello specifically is you can actually feel the vibrations under your fingers. When you are playing the cello correctly, you're feeling the vibrations in a very different way than when you are doing it incorrectly. This in and of itself can be like a teacher for you. Your cello can teach you how to do it correctly. In Inner Voice Academy, you learn exactly how to do this. Number 2, I know what you might be thinking. You are thinking that you need a teacher to manipulate your hand, move it around, change the angle of your arm, move you around like this, and make sure that you have the right posture, right? You maybe think that that's necessary in order to learn an instrument. And I completely understand. Like, I also, when I learn a new skill, I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I want to avoid pain, and I want to make sure that I'm making every minute of my practice time worth it, right? So, over the last 10 years of teaching, I've actually changed the way that I speak. I've adapted the language that I use when I'm teaching in order to work with kinesthetic learners. So, for example, let's say you are holding your bow in a way that is not helping your sound quality. Like, you're hearing scratches, you're hearing squeaks and squawks, and you don't want that. And you're thinking, okay, if only Ine was here to change my hand, tell me exactly how to do it. What I actually do is I give you very specific step-by-steps that shows you small tweaks to make. And it's not overwhelming. You change one thing, and you hear an improvement. You change another thing, and you feel the vibration under your fingers changing. Because of the way that I have changed the way that I teach to work with online kinesthetic learners, you are actually going to be going faster. You are going to be able to play pieces like what I started this video off with a lot faster than most, because you are actually learning to be auditory, visual, and developing your kinesthetic learning. This makes your progress so much faster, because when you combine multiple learning styles and multiple ways of doing something, you accelerate, you fast track those results. And feeling confident that you are making progress every single time you are playing your instrument, that's what you really want, right? So visual learners, let's go over that. So visual learners, grab these sunglasses for effect. So I'm gonna look through the visor. Visual learners, they love seeing exactly what's happening. They love to copy and mimic what they're seeing someone else do. This part is just amazing. You can actually pause and re-watch the classes that I teach in Inner Voice Academy. That way, you can pause it when I'm demonstrating really close to the screen. I did exactly like this. This is like mini cello class right there. So you can pause it right there and then copy exactly what I'm doing. Number 2, there is actually a woman who is very much a visual learner. There is a color-coded version of learning how to read music. I know, mind-blowing. This color-coded version allows this visual learner, this one woman who's been in the program for about 3 years, to attach colors to notes. And this allows her to have a visual system of knowing exactly where notes go. So if you are a visual learner, what this would mean for you is you would learn the notes visually based on the colors that we attach to them, and then muscle memory takes over, and you actually develop your kinesthetic learning. So it works hand in hand, works so well together. Okay, auditory learners. The cello, you may have chosen this as a hobby because you are an auditory learner. Now, auditory learners, you love hearing what is happening and then trying to mimic it. So you don't even need your sight when you are learning. This is amazing for the cello because it is a musical instrument. It produces sounds, it produces beautiful music and beautiful sound. That is why the foundational course, the very first course you learn, is called Simply Sound Foundations of Cello. So this works very well for the auditory learner because you'll hear multiple people playing the same thing as you. You'll watch me demonstrate and tweak what they're doing, and then you can actually go and tweak that on your own so that when you come to class, you are correcting mistakes before they even happen. So auditory learners, you will love the practice with me videos where I actually play the piece that you are trying to learn. And then you can just listen to how it's done. You can also watch, so you're developing your visual, and then you do it to develop your kinesthetic. So essentially what we do is we take your initial learning style, and then we mold it to help you learn the auditory and the visual. The cello really incorporates all of them. You learn how to be kinesthetic, you learn how to be more auditory, and with an online program, you learn how to be more visual because you're copying what you're seeing. So this is essential for learners in Inner Voice Academy, is first of all to know your learning style, and there's actually a quiz that we go through as soon as you enter the program. Number one, to know your learning style. And then number two, once you know that learning style, to use it for your advantage. So I give you coaching on this in the program, and I help you know exactly how to use it really well. And what this means for you is feeling so confident that the program is going to work for you. This feeling of being bought in, all in, that's what's going to give you success. Because you have the mindset that you're going to make this work for you. Okay, part 2, the signature review cycle that we go through for success on the cello. So in Inner Voice Academy, we have a couple of different ways to review. Now, this is partially based on your learning style, but most of all, it is based on the fact that you have what I like to call a cello teacher in your pocket. So what that means is you actually get to ask me questions as you practice. How we do this is on a platform like Slack. There is a channel called The Studio, and when you are in that channel, you get to post videos of yourself practicing, let's say, one new skill. I give you some feedback, maybe in the form of a video or a voice message or a quick demonstration, and then you go and practice it, and you come back and show me again. This constant cycle of coaching is your cello teacher in your back pocket. Because when you do an in-person lesson, you try to remember everything they're saying, you're so excited, you get in the car and it starts fading in your memory. The instant that you learn something new, that is the moment it starts fading. So you can see it as like this spike. There's this spike in your brain. Here's the information. Now here is time. You can imagine time underneath. It starts fading and fading and fading and fading, all the way till the next time you review it. So let's say you review that skill and you're like, whoa, I remember again, and it's way up high again. But then maybe a week goes by where you forget that you learned it and you forget to review, and then it goes all the way back down. Now you're still a little bit higher than you were. You're maybe at level 2, whereas you were level 1 with that skill to begin with. But when you are constantly in the review cycle with coaching and being able to create new iterations of that skill that you're learning, you will actually feel like you're on a staircase. So here you are at the very first time you learn it. You practice, and you're at the next level. Get coaching, you practice, and you're at the next level. Get coaching, you practice, and you're at the next level. So instead of a graph that is kind of these spikes with drop, spike, drop, spike, drop, you're actually on a gradual incline, like a staircase. Now, this helps you not feel fuzzy when you're practicing. Recently, I asked a student, why did he choose Inner Voice Academy? And why has he stuck with it for so many months now? And this is what he said. So much of Inner Voice Academy works so well because of your dedication and responsiveness. I didn't experience being able to contact my music teacher between lessons for tips, questions, etc. I had to remember what to ask at the next meeting. The online platform allows students and instructors to engage when they are able. That's what he said to me in the recent conversation. And the reason I mention it here is because I know you're busy. I know you are so busy, you may only have 15 minutes in the morning before your kids wake up to practice cello. And if you were to post a question in those 15 minutes and then within 24 hours get an answer, then the next time you practice, you are going to go up the level. You're going to go up to the next level for that skill. And this gives you an approach that is truly unique. This is also what the same student says. He said, through you, IVA Inner Voice Academy mixes an approach to learning cello that I think is truly unique. Students not only get excellent instruction from an incredible accomplished musician, they get an approach that considers how the brain functions. This review cycle that we're talking about is exactly how the brain functions. The brain needs information over and over and over with new iterations and new ways of seeing it in order to remember. So that way, you actually get to learn in the same place that you practice. This means that you get to practice immediately after a class. And also, when you get that coaching and you're in a class, you're actually in your own environment. One student said, most other online teachers don't have themselves set up as well as IVA. Most online instruction seems to mirror in person. You show up on Zoom, run through some drills, and it's in a different spot than you practice. In-person lessons for an adult means packing up the cello and taking it to work, working all day, driving to cello practice, unpack, get in the headspace, play for 30 minutes to an hour. Inner Voice Academy allows students to create their own physical space. Then that space is dedicated to this one activity. It makes it less of a chore and more of a personal pursuit. This location-based learning has been shown to impact the speed at which you learn. So what this means for you is when you are actually receiving coaching and making changes to how you are playing in the same location as what you practice, you learn faster because you don't have distractions. You are set up. You don't have to go look for this paper that you forgot at home, or you have your music stand ready and you're used to the acoustics in the room. All of these little things is what helps you accelerate the learning process. Okay, part 3, Inner Voice Academy, which is the signature program in my music school. It is, in fact, an online, one-on-one, and group hybrid form of learning cello. So that is the monthly class cycle in one sentence. So when you're in the program, you get a topic-based training, which is recorded and you can watch it. This is our topic of the month. This is on the first week of the month. Week number 2, you have a lab. Cello lab is where we get together as a group and you each get individual moments to perform something from your practice routine. This is where you get that live coaching feedback process happening. And I often come back to you 3 or 4 times in the class so that you can go back, tweak it, play it again, go back, tweak it, play it again while I work with other people. You can see it like your chance to move up the ladder with a certain skill. Week 3 of every month is our office hours. This makes sure that you get at least one opportunity for a live class if you are especially busy. There is one student in the program. She travels probably 75% of the time. She's away from home and away from her cello. She has made it possible to learn the cello because of this class cycle. She joined the program because she knew that it would be flexible with her crazy work schedule. It is unpredictable, and the unpredictability lends itself so well to this class cycle. So week number 4 is then another cello lab. So it's topic of the month, cello lab, one-on-one class, and then group lab at the end of the month. That way you can have variety and it lends itself to your learning style. Now the real value is being able to play something like the Bach prelude that I played at the beginning of the class. And that's what you want, right? You want to play with freedom. You want to play the cello, experiencing that beautiful sound. I can see you now. It is May 27th, 2025. You've been playing the cello for about a year. You sit down one early morning. You can hear the birds singing outside. Spring has started. And you play the Bach prelude in G major. You hear the notes singing. You feel the freedom of playing. And you know, as you pause for a moment, that Inner Voice Academy has made it possible for you to play with freedom. You are so excited for your class tomorrow. You are going to play the first section of this piece, and you cannot wait for the feeling of freedom and the gift of music that you are going to provide for not only yourself, but for those in the class. That is the picture that you want to see, isn't it? So let's take a closer look at the idea that might be causing you to hesitate and weigh it against the reasons in favor of moving forward. All right? So the reasons you are hesitating: you're concerned that a virtual program is not going to work for you, and you are worried that it won't work for your learning style. Is there anything else that belongs here? The reasons to move forward now are: you can ask questions while you practice. You will save time by learning with a community, and you'll feel prepared for each class. Don't you feel that the reasons to move forward weigh heavier? Your first step to learning the cello is to join the Upgrade Your Brain Software Challenge. It's going to start on June 17th. The link to register is in the show notes below. And I have one last question for you. Would you prefer to join this challenge or the one in July?